Let's go for it.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm so happy to be here with you today, Christina. I'm Delisa West. I'm a dream doula and an artist.
I'm Christina Spataro. I'm a psychotherapist and relationship coach.
Sweet. And we thought we would talk about a common human issue in our modern day life. Maybe it was the case back in the day. We just have different things. All these different things pushing us, pulling us, all the responsibilities. I have an appointment at 1, an appointment at 2, an appointment at 3:50. You've got to go from here to there. Maybe you have to pick up kids or manage dinner. How do we help people when they're feeling pulled and pushed in all these directions and a little bit lost?
So maybe we could help them by letting them know how we handle it when we're being pulled in many different directions. Because I have felt that many, many times. And what happens is, and maybe others have related to this. Remember we talked about the whole stress and the whole autonomic nervous system and how the body actually doesn't want us to feel stressed. It doesn't want us to use up energy. So it will actually create this sense of like, it just will make us not do anything. It will freeze us in our tracks. So there are times when I have so many things going on, I actually feel frozen. Like I don't even know where to start.
Right. For me, my tactic when I'm feeling overwhelmed is I wouldn't say frozen. I feel tired and I want to take a nap.
Yes. Yes.
I was like,
yes.
I can't do anything. I just want to take a nap or read a book, or back when I drank alcohol, just to have a glass of wine and relax.
Yeah.
I get out of that, the busyness of life.
Yes, your body's actually protecting you by doing that. When we perceive something as potentially exhausting to us. See, we're living in this society where we feel like, oh, I have to do something. The body doesn't care. The body is getting the message. The brain is getting the message. This is going to be exhausting. Oh no, we have to conserve energy because remember, the whole point of this brain is to keep us alive. So if it's perceiving something as being too exhausting, oh yeah, no, that will never do. So you know what? You don't want to do that. Go take a nap.
Yeah.
That's it. You don't want to do that. We don't want to use up all that energy. No, go take a nap. That's exactly right. So whether it's freezing you or it's making you take a nap, it's basically not letting you do this thing that it is now perceiving as this is going to be exhausting. It's going to be too much. So way to kind of work around it is you got to break that up. We talked before about the idea of breaking things up into chunks, into smaller, more manageable chunks. So don't think about that massive to-do list. What can I do right now? What can I do right now? Give myself that little win and then move on to the next thing. Because if I look at the giant list, my brain's going to say, go take a nap. You don't want to do this.
Right. Right. And I think also in the modern world we live in, we sometimes sign up for too many things. Too many groups, too many Zooms, too many classes, too many meetups, too many everything. And possibly one of the things that we could do for really good mental health and physical health is taking some things off our list.
Yes. Yes. There is nothing better than removing things from your to-do list. You know, the beauty of Google Calendar is you can remove as easily as you can add.
Ooh, say that again, please.
The beauty of Google Calendar is that you can remove as easily as you can add.
Right on. I was thinking about my mom, bless her heart, she's passed on. She used to have, in fact, I have it somewhere, a physical address book that she wrote everybody's name, phone number, addresses in. And one year I used to move about every year or maybe twice a year when I was a very young woman. And she said, I need to write your name in pencil because I keep erasing your address, putting in another one. But so much easier now if you're not writing your appointments on a physical book.
Mhm.
Erase it out of your Google Calendar, erase it out of
Yep.
your iCalendar or
Yep.
whatever calendar you use, and just take it off.
Yes, take it off. So periodically, because like you said, we overbook ourselves. So periodically take a look at your calendar and think, does that really need to be there? Do I need, or do I need to have things so tightly scheduled? Is there room for a buffer zone? Can I change it? We often think things are sacrosanct and we can't change them, but we'd be surprised how they can. There was one day I had such a busy day, I realized I never scheduled lunch. And I'm
Mm.
like, I'm going to be hungry. Okay. And I'm a diabetic. So I have to really be careful about that blood sugar. So I was like, okay, wait a minute. I scheduled no eating time here. I literally have myself going all day without any food at all. My blood sugar is not going to be happy. So I said, okay, what can I move? What can I change? What can I shift? I'm always telling my clients that, everybody treats everything like a crisis. Like it's, fire, bomb is going to explode, whether we cut this wire. In life, most things are not that sacrosanct that we can't say, you know what? I can move that up half an hour, or I can move this over here, or I can adjust this time here, or I can give myself this time to do this. Or maybe we've committed to something that we don't need to commit to on that day or at that time. Do I have another option? Like one time I was going to do like a phone call, and I was like, when you're in your cozy place, your feet are up, you've got your cup of tea, it's, you're just in this very cozy space. And then all of a sudden you see your calendar and you're like, I don't want to move. I'm liking this cozy space. I'm liking this tea. And then I'd gotten an email where someone said, is now still a good time? And I thought to myself, you know what? It actually isn't. Because this is the first break I've had all day. I am finally feeling calm and relaxed. I'd like to continue this for an hour.
Right
So
on. I
then,
think
yeah.
Scandinavians have a name for that. It's called hygge.
Ooh, hygge.
Hygge,
I like it.
Hygge, I think is how it's spelled, but the feeling that you're cozy.
Yes.
Yeah. And also, I found myself the other day, I'm sure I'm not the only person that signs up for a Zoom webinar workshop.
Mhm.
It's free, or maybe it's a low cost. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. And then suddenly one day, I didn't put any of those on my calendar, but I got all the reminders, and they were all happening at the same time, at the same
Yes.
hour. And I almost, because this is crazy, I almost did them all at once, thinking that I could just have one on my phone and one on my iPad and one on my computer. And I could put my attention between this one and this one and that one.
Yes.
And then suddenly I thought, what the what?
Yes. Yes.
No, that doesn't work. I mean, maybe some people can multitask with 2 meetings at once, but you're really
Right.
not in either one.
You're really not present in either one. No, you're not.
Yeah, and so now if I sign up for something that's going to be online, I don't just click out of it before I put it into my calendar. So it
Me too. Yeah.
surprises me later when it's the other thing I'm supposed to be doing. Especially if I'm signing up to do something with someone who knows me. I'm like, I want to actually be there if I sign up for it. I want to really be there.
Absolutely. Yes. Exactly.
That's probably the other thing that people can consider, is that if you make a decision to do something, do it, be fully in.
Be fully present. Absolutely.
Yeah, be fully in. And if you find yourself really not enjoying it or really dreading it, you might ask yourself, is this really something I want to do? Is
Right.
it something that makes my heart? Is it something that's necessary that you have to endure? Maybe like going to the dentist or the doctor for a test or something. Maybe that's a have to, but almost every other thing in life isn't a have to. And even those appointments with dentists and doctors, you don't have to do it at 6 o'clock in the morning if you're not a morning person. You can do it at
Exactly.
a time that works for you.
Exactly. Yes. 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 I completely agree. I completely agree. And I too have been guilty of, signing up for workshops with, oh, this is so interesting. I love to learn. So I'm like, oh, this sounds great. This sounds great. This sounds great. And the more organizations you belong to, the more advertisements you get, or the more offers you get between my coaching stuff, my psychology stuff, all the different. Oh my goodness, I could fill my calendar all day long. So yes. And a little trick, which I give my clients who have a hard time saying no to people, and they find themselves saying yes to things they don't want to do. So I always tell them, I say, okay, before you respond, you have to ask yourself, do I really want to do this? And do I have time to do this? If the answer to either one of those is no, then your answer is no.
Oh, do I really want to?
Yes.
Do I have time to do it?
Yes. If the answer to either one of those is no, then your answer is no.
When I was a very young woman, I had a hard time saying no. And I worked in a family furniture store where my younger brother had no problem saying no. And he said to me, this is how you say no. No, not at all. So he shook his head down. He said, no. And then he shook it left and right and said, not at all.
Not at all.
When they ask you something ridiculous, you say, no, not at all.
Not at all.
And he made me practice. It was really cute.
I
He's 10
love
years
that.
younger than me. I'm like, really, Mark? He goes, yes. Say it like this. No,
No,
not at all.
not at all.
But I also think that if someone's inviting you to do something, a friend say a friend's inviting you to be in their book club or their knitting club, or they want to go out for coffee. No, not at all might sound a little harsh.
Right.
But this is a great way to say no. Thank you so much for asking me.
Yes.
No.
No. Exactly.
And not like, no, because I have to do this or that. No excuses. Just thank you for asking. No.
Thank you for asking no. Because this is the problem. And I guess guys can struggle with this too, but I think for women especially, we really have this people pleasing thing. I'm not saying there aren't guys that have that too. I think there are, but I feel especially as a woman and knowing women and working with women, this seems to be a very female trait of we have a hard time saying no. We almost feel obligated to say yes, or we don't want to hurt someone's feelings, especially if it's a friend. I don't want them to feel bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then we wind up overextending ourselves to the point where we're exhausted or we don't want to do it. So why are we doing that again?
I've seen people who said yes more than they wanted to.
Yes.
Then get ready for that thing that they didn't really want to do in the first place with resentment and anger.
Yes.
And if it's a loved one, maybe that you are visiting or living with, and you watch them and they're like, I have to do the blah, blah, blah. It's like, what? Why are you doing it? Just don't. Well, I have to. Do you have to?
Yep.
Probably not. You're
Probably
choosing
not.
to. That's the other thing that I think that takes it off, takes that whole feeling of being resentful and angry that you're doing something you didn't want to do.
Exactly.
Remind yourself, if you're going to do it,
Yes.
I chose to do this.
Yes. That's why
I made a decision and I chose.
I chose.
That's why I'm doing it.
Yes. That's so important. That's what comes down to my criteria that I give my clients. Do you want to do it? And do you have time to do it? Because in doing that, you're making the choice. You're saying, I have time to do it and I want to do it. You're not doing it out of obligation. You're not doing it because you have to. You're doing it because you have time to and you want to. You are choosing to do this.
Not out of all. And I think that's also a thing that women face. We choose to do quite a lot of things out of obligation.
Absolutely.
family, to our spouses, to our
Yes.
tribe.
Yes.
We feel like if we don't do it, no one will do it. I don't know, I have to do that. Why? Well, no one else will
Yeah.
do it, so I'll do it. Well, maybe it
Right.
should be done if no
Maybe
one
it
else
shouldn't be
is gonna
done.
do it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So really, if you're feeling overwhelmed and you're
Mhm.
looking at your calendar, you
Mhm.
can ask yourself, do I want to do this? Do I have
Mhm.
time to do this? And if either of those answers are no, maybe it's time to send someone a text or give them
Yes.
a quick call and say, got to reschedule for some time in the
Yes.
future, or just doesn't work for me today anymore.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah. And then you can be home with your hygge,
Yes. I
sitting
love that
around,
word, huga.
cozy with your cup of tea and a book that you love.
Yes. Yes.
Now, one final thing I want to chat about briefly. Do you suggest to people, and I think it's an old-fashioned idea, and a lot of
Mhm.
people don't go to church anymore these
Mhm.
days, but there's something beautiful about the Sabbath and the idea that you take one entire day every week,
Mhm.
just be with your universe and your creation
Yes.
and rest.
I think that is actually crucial. You know, like we talked about in a previous conversation, I don't force my spirituality on anybody else. That's up to you to see how you feel about things. But I think the notion of taking a day of rest is crucial for us as human beings. I think part of why we struggle so much, why our stress levels are all time high, why we're depressed and anxious, is because we're not taking a break. We're always on the go, on the go, on the go, on the go, on the go. You can't have that kind of pace. You need that day. You
Yeah.
need that day of rest. Yes, I encourage you. Whatever you call it the Sabbath, call it your time, call it just a day for you. You know, working in the mental health field, when I would work with other agencies or departments, we used to jokingly say, I need a mental health day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we used to say that all the time. Because what is that? It's the recognition that you need to take that time for yourself mentally and physically. You have to.
Many years ago, I was a busy real estate agent in Seattle, and sometimes I'd take a break and walk around a lake that was a 3-mile
Mhm.
track. And on Friday afternoons, sometimes I would go to a first run movie and see the
Mhm.
matinee. And one day I thought,
Nice.
oh, I've just had it. I've just been talking to people all week. I'm
Mhm.
so overwhelmed going to the movie. So I looked up, the
Yes.
movie was playing, and I went to this theater, and in there someone said, hi, Lisa. I looked around. There were 12 people in the theater on Friday matinee, first run, first time
That's
showing. They were
funny.
all real estate friends of mine.
That is so funny. Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
So their mental health day was an afternoon at the movies.
Yes, and I know you won't be surprised that often that was one of my mental health days was an afternoon at the movies.
Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. Thank you, Christina. And I hope that
Thank
everyone
you.
listening to this thinks about taking a mental health day or just a
Yes.
mental health afternoon, if that's all you
Yes.
need.
Please do. And have you, what is it? Hookah?
Hygge.
Hooga.
Hygge.
Take your hooga.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.